wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the Commission and the Board will be retained by the Secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the Planning Department. The Planning Commission and the Board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on all the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct its own additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the District Court.
And thank you, Director Waito. Would you do our roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Aldrich?
Here.
Zimbelman? Here. Fry? Mater is absent. McKay? Here. Dool? Here. Bill Johnson is absent. High? Here. Klontz? Here. Warren? Here. Joe Johnson? Present. Austin? Here. Williams Bay? And Thiessen is absent. Sir, I show there are 11 members present and 3 absent.
Thank you, sir. Now we will move to approval of the MAPC minutes for July 9th. There is a correction I would like to point out. Commissioner Klautz was here for that meeting, and she is not listed.
Move for approval with correction.
Yes, sir. Is there anybody else that says anything? If not, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson for approval and a second by Commissioner Williams Bay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion have passed. Forgot to note that I was absent and also Commissioner Dool was absent. So we will both be abstaining. So that'd be was it
902?
902 or 902. Next agenda item 4.1, the minutes for July 23rd has been deferred to August 27th. Next item, we will be going through the determination of the MAP consent agenda items. We will start out with subdivision 2.1 is subdivision 2026-00034. This has been deferred to August the 27th. So if there's anybody here to hear that subdivision item, that has been deferred to August 27th. Next agenda item 2.2, subdivision 2026-00038, which was deferred from the 23rd, has been also deferred to August the 27th. So if anybody's here for those two subdivision items, they have been deferred to August the 27th. Next agenda item, 2.3, subdivision 2026-0003, final plat of Bridgeport North 7th. This is in the city. Approximate location on this is 37th Street North and North Ridge Road. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 2.3 to the consent. Next agenda item is 2.4 subdivision 2026-0003, one step final plat, Blue Sky Crossing, second edition. This is in the county, approximately 103rd Street West and West 87th Street. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 2.4 to the consent agenda item. Next agenda item is 2.5 subdivision 2026-00044, one step final plat, Bridgewater Bay Edition. Approximate location is K42 and I-235 in the city. Is there anyone on the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 2.5 to the consent agenda item.
Move to approve agenda items 2.3, 2.4, and 2.5.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda items from Commissioner Warren. We have a second by Commissioner Williams Bay. Commissioner Fry?
Just a point of clarification on item 2.3, the final plat for Ridgeport North 7th. We have a later agenda item that is asking for smaller setbacks for its zoning request. Would this plat be in, if that does not get approved, does that change this plat?
I believe it does, because they're asking for the zone change in order to have a certain lot size requirement that's allowed in TF3, which is what they're asking for in the later zone change. And my understanding is that this plat is based off of what that would be.
So if this plat were to be allowed, they would not be able to do duplexes with the as approved current zoning for duplexes.
All looks like Greg has an update.
Right. So this plat, they're going to TF3, which would allow the proposed 0-foot setbacks on one side per the TF3 ordinance.
So,
what I'm trying to get at here, sorry.
right. So essentially, if the zoning doesn't go through, then they can't plat a property and construct a property within a zoning district that doesn't allow for those development standards. So if the zoning doesn't go through, they can't record the plat anyway.
But if this plat is approved, they can still go back to the old plat. Or there is no other plat for it right now.
It is currently unplatted. They would have to submit a different
They
plat.
have to submit a different plat to go with the existing zoning if the new zoning doesn't get approved.
Correct.
Okay.
So that would make this one null and void.
Correct. They would not be able to record this plat and develop it if the development standards per the zoning district don't allow for what they're looking to do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Fry.
This is the agent
Just one
for
second.
the plat.
Okay, I'm gonna have the agent come up real quick. Okay, I need you to come to the mic, please.
Chris Rose with Baughman Company, agent for the applicant. Just one clarification on that. We could refile the zoning to SF5 and meet the plat as well. And on the future zoning, it's TF3 with protective overlay to remove the duplex zoning. So
Are you good now, Commissioner Fry?
Yes.
Okay, Thank you. Okay, we do have a
Thank you
motion
all.
for approval, and we do have a second. I'm going to call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye for the approval of the subdivision recommendations. All opposed, same sign. That passed 11-0. Now we move to the public hearing vacation items. The first one on the agenda is 3.1 vacation 2026-00026, vacation request in the city. Approximate location is West Meadowville Street and North Edwards. Is there anyone on the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.1 to consent. 3.2, vacation 2026-0007 is also a vacation in the city. Approximate location is West Taft Avenue and West South Dugan Road. Is there anyone from the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.2 to consent. Next agenda item, 3.3, vacation 2026-00028. Also a vacation request in the city. Approximate location is North Greenwich Road and East 21st Street and North. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 3.3 to consent. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda items? I'll make a motion that we approve the vacation request
Second.
on the consent, and we have a second. We have a motion by Commissioner Aldrich and a second by Commissioner Johnson for approval. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is passed 11-0. Next agenda, agenda items for public hearing items would be 4.1, conditional use 2026-00086. Conditional use of access to allow accessory apartment in the city. Approximate location, North Broadway and 3rd Street North, East 3rd Street North, excuse me. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to hear this case? Yes, we do have some. We will be hearing 4.1. Next agenda item, 4.2, conditional use 2026-00088, conditional use request in the city for a personal care service. Approximate location is 2nd Street North and North Hillside. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 4.2 to the consent agenda item. 4.3, conditional use 2026-00094, conditional use in the city to allow accessory apartment. Approximate location, North Ella Street and East 3rd Street North. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 4.3 to the consent agenda. 4.1, conditional use 2026-00095, conditional use request in the city to allow an expansion of the car wash. Or 4.4, what did I say? Well, you can't believe anything I say. Correction on that at 4.4, conditional use 2026-0095. Approximate location, South Seneca Street and West 29th Street. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear the correct conditional use? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 4.4 to the consent agenda item. Next agenda item would be 4.5, conditional use 2026-00096, conditional use request in the city to allow a tavern and drinking establishment. Approximate location is Highway 54-400 and east-south hydraulic. Is there anyone on the commission would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that'd like to hear this case? We will be hearing 4.5. Next agenda item, 4.6, zone case 2026-00034, requesting the city for neighborhood office to TF3 two-family residential. Approximate location, North Ridge Road and West 37th Street. Is there anyone on the commission that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, is there anyone from the audience that would like to hear this case? Seeing none, we will move 4.6 to consent. We will be hearing 4.7, which is DER 2025-00022, which is amendment to the Sedgwick County Unified Zoning Code. And we will also be hearing a non-public hearing, 5.1, DER 2026-00012, which was the capital improvement program. So those two cases we will be hearing. We are going to recess the public hearing, and we are going to move over to the BZA. Oh, excuse me, my apologies.
I'll move to approve items 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.6.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zimbelman and a second by Commissioner Clouds to approve for the consent agenda items as given. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 10-1. Is that correct? Thank you, Commissioner, for bringing that up. Now we will recess into the Board of Zoning Appeals for August 13th. Let's see. The first agenda item that we have is approval of the BZA minutes for July 29th. And I show that myself and also Commissioner Joe Johnson was absent. Are there any other corrections that anybody can see?
Yes, I was present also.
You were present?
So were you. No, I said I was present and.
Mr. Johnson, would you please use your microphone?
It shows that both Bob and I were present and absent.
Okay, I was not here, even though it shows me being here. I was out of state, and Commissioner, I believe on the other, on the MAPC agenda that you weren't here also. So.
So it sounds like the correction is to show that Commissioners Aldrich and Joe Johnson were absent then.
That's
I
correct.
move to approve as corrected.
Okay. So we have a motion by Commissioner Fry and a second by Commissioner Williams Bay to accept the corrected minutes as given. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. I will be abstaining, and so will Commissioner Johnson. So that'd be past 9-02. Okay, next agenda item would be,
Wait a minute, I was present for the ninth meeting. I was present for the commission meeting,
So,
so I was present for the BZ.
okay,
meeting also.
With that information, if you would like to do a motion to reconsider that item, so it'd be one motion to reconsider and then a second motion then to do the correction, if you'd like.
Okay,
Second.
are you good with that, legal?
I'm good. What we would need now is a motion with the corrections.
Okay.
Motion
A
to
motion to
approve.
rescind. And do you need a record who made the motions?
I was absent for the planning commission meeting on that date, so I was also absent for the BZA meeting.
Okay, so you were absent also for the July 9th BZA, correct? Okay, I think we need to work a little bit on this AI thing. Maybe it needs its own data center to get things corrected there, I don't know. So,
So if I have it, we would show, in that case, the latest corrections would be to show members absent as Mr. Aldrich and Mr. Dool. And then we would show Mr. Joe Johnson as present. And I believe that would be the corrections.
okay, but still going back to the minutes of the MAPC that we accepted that Commissioner Johnson was not present.
No, the MAPC showed that he was present. The two absents were Aldrich and Dool.
All right,
So the MAPC is correct.
okay. So, I think we got that straight. Did we have a motion for the corrected? Okay, so we do have a motion to rescind the first one, and we have a second, and who made the initial motion to rescind? Okay, Commissioner Warren made the motion to rescind, Commissioner Dool seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign, and I will be abstaining from that motion.
Perfect. At this point, we would need a motion with the corrections or to defer it to another meeting if there's concerns.
Okay, if there's no other corrections that we can see, is there a motion to accept the minutes based on the correct discussion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Warren for approval, second by Commissioner Austin. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion passed 9-0-2. Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Okay, the minutes for June 25th has been deferred to the next BZA meeting, so we don't have to worry about any corrections at this point. Next agenda item on the BZA would be BZA 2026-0053. Is the agent or applicant here by chance? Staff is recommending that all the conditions do not meet. Wait a second here, time out. Well, then my, we should be on number 2. Yeah, BZA 2026-0053.
0067. I think you're reading the minutes and not the agenda.
It's the heat, boys and girls. Okay, next agenda item is BZA 2026-00067. The staff has recommended that all 5 criteria have been met, we can take this on the consent. So do we have a motion from anybody that wants to?
We might want to check and see if there's anyone from the public who has an interest in this one.
First of all, does anybody on the commission want to hear the case? If not, is there anybody from the audience that would like to hear this case? I'm sorry, was there anybody want it?
There's a conversation going on, but the two individuals are here for the College Hill case.
Oh, okay.
On the zoning agenda.
All right, so we can move the agenda item 2 on the BZA to consent. Is there a motion for that? We have a motion from Commissioner McCabe for approval, seconded by Commissioner Williams Bay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We have moved that to consent. Now, the next agenda item was BZA 2026-00069. Staff has recommended that the 5 criterias have not been met. Agent or applicant available? Okay. Okay, so we will be hearing this case, and Christina, I believe. Can't believe I was reading the minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present BZA 2669. The applicant for this case has 3 requests. The first is a variance to allow an accessory structure that occupies more than 1/2 of the rear yard, a variance to allow an accessory structure that exceeds the maximum height requirements for accessory structures, and a variance to reduce the interior site setback for accessory structures from 3 feet to 2.9 feet. The subject site is 0.15 acres in size, zoned to 2-family residential and located at 2044 North Fairview Avenue. Subject site is currently developed with a 788-foot single-family residential dwelling constructed in 1940 and a 2-story accessory structure constructed in 2025. The applicant is requesting all 3 variances to bring the accessory structure into compliance. So a bit of a timeline on this. This may seem familiar to you guys because of the accessory apartment case that we had recently. In October of 24, the applicant submitted a building permit to remove the existing garage and replace it with a 1-story 2-car garage. That is what was submitted to MABCD. Upon inspection, the inspector noticed that the garage was 2 stories in height and had living quarters on the 2nd floor. And so I spoke with MABCD, and the property owner is actually listed as the contractor for the building permit. And then there were subcontractors. There was a contractor for the plumbing work, and then there was a subcontractor for the electrical work. And then on July 23rd of this year, the Planning Commission approved a conditional use request for the use of an accessory apartment on site on the condition that the accessory structure must come into compliance before that accessory apartment can receive a certificate of occupancy. So the reason how we determined that the accessory structure utilizes more than 1/2 of the rear yard is that the area of the accessory structure is 42 feet by 40 feet, and the rear yard measures 70 feet by 20 feet. So deviation from section 3D7E of the Unified Zoning Code requires a variance. And the height of the accessory structure is approximately 26 feet. The survey indicates that the top of the peak is approximately 32 feet, and the height of the gabled roof is measured at the midpoint between the peak and the eaves. And then again, section 3D7E of the Unified Zoning Code, the maximum allowed height is 21 feet for all accessory structures in 2-family zoning. Property owners may adjust the maximum allowed height by up to 20% or 4.2 feet, but this exceeds what can be processed administratively. The accessory structure meets all setback requirements with one exception. The southeast corner of the accessory structure, as you can see in the site plan, it's actually 2.9 feet from the property line. They could do this through an administrative adjustment, but we figure we would just put this in the variance application. The character of the neighborhood is low-density residential. In 1887, the subject site was platted as part of the Avondale addition, and in 2026, the site was approved for an accessory apartment. So let's go through the 5 criteria for granting a variance. Staff does not agree with the first request in that the variance arises from the conditions that are unique to the property and are not commonly found throughout the zoning district. The situation was not created by the property owner. According to the applicant, a licensed contractor was hired, all work was performed under valid permits, and inspections were completed and approved by MABCD. The hardship results from the property's specific physical and regulatory circumstances, not from any action taken by the applicant. So again, according to MBCD records, the applicant is listed as the contractor with a subcontractor for the associated electrical and plumbing work. So as a listed contractor, it is ultimately the responsibility of the applicant to know the development standards and codes associated with the permit. So the MABCD records show that the footings, the setbacks, and the underground electrical work were approved, but the permits were ultimately voided because of what they saw during the inspection. Staff does not agree with the second of the applicant's statement, which is granting the variance will not negatively affect neighboring properties or residents. The accessory structure does not adhere to the required setbacks based on the height of the structure. In order for a structure to be granted 3-foot side setbacks and a 5-foot rear setback, the accessory structure cannot exceed 60% of the allowable height in the zoning district. Furthermore, the structure encroaches into the one of the side setbacks, which is part of the subject variance request. Staff does not agree with the third statement. So the strict application of the provisions of the code would constitute an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. The applicant states that strict enforcement of the applicable zoning code would create an unnecessary financial hardship for the property owner. Despite hiring licensed contractors, obtaining all required permits, and passing inspections, denial of the variance would impose significant financial loss and require costly corrective measures that are disproportionate to the issue. If the Board of Zoning Appeals were to deny the application, staff acknowledges that there would be a significant expense to bring the accessory structure into compliance with the zoning code. However, the applicant constructed a 2-story building after receiving a building permit for a single-story building. Staff does not agree with the fourth statement. The variance will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, general welfare, or harmonious development of the community. The applicant states that neighbors have expressed support, noting that the new construction will enhance the appearance and value of the neighborhood. All work has been performed safely, professionally, and in compliance with building standards. Approving the variance requested does not promote harmonious development in the community. Again, when we're talking about the development standards for accessory structures when it comes to maximum height in the zoning district and one of the side setbacks on the south side. A review of the surrounding area identifies that there are no structures of this size and scale in the rear yard. And staff does not agree with the fifth statement. The granting of the variance will not be opposed to the general spirit and intent of the code. The applicant states that the granting of the variance aligns with the general spirit and intent of the zoning code. All required permits were obtained, setbacks were met, inspections were passed, and a professional survey was completed. The project follows the purpose of the zoning regulations while addressing a unique hardship the code did not anticipate. So staff believes that the spirit and intent of the code to provide reasonable separation and height restrictions between structures so that building mass and location does not have adverse impacts on neighboring properties. So we have the legal considerations, approval or denial. Any vote by the BZA to approve requires 8 votes per the BZA bylaws, regardless of how many members are present. The recommendation of staff is that the 3 requests do not meet the 5 criteria to grant the variances. The Board of Zoning Appeals has the opportunity to consider each of the 3 requests separately. The BZA can find the 5 criteria to be met or not met for the individual requests. Should the Board of Zoning Appeals find that the applicant meets the 5 criteria to grant all the requested variances, staff recommends that the applicant obtain a building permit within 1 year of variance approval, and the site shall conform to all codes not limited to zoning, building, health, and fire. And the setback reduction, the area of the structure in the rear yard, and the maximum height allowance shall only apply to the accessory structure as illustrated on the site plan. So let's go through some of the site photos, please. So this is a site plan that was submitted by the applicant that was done with a professional survey. These are some updated photos. If we could go to the next slide, please. Thank you. This is looking east towards the principal structure. This is looking west away from the site across North Fairview Avenue. Next slide, please. This is looking east towards the accessory structure. Next slide, please. This is looking south down North Fairview Avenue. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Christina. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, the agent or applicant, please. You will have 10 minutes to speak and present your case.
Yeah, I'm Jose Raimundo, 2044 North Fairview. ¿Qué más?
My name is Juan Pablo Perez, Precise Pros Construction. I'm here to help him in case we have resolution or help. I'm a general contractor, Class B. If you guys decide to approve and help anywise, since the first line is being by owner, not contractor, we can help them out so that way everything will be under code.
Okay, sir, a quick question. Were you the original contractor or are you just coming in to assist after the fact?
I came to assist them at the beginning. Also, I help him with the trusses and stuff, since it's being built by engineer Mill Creek. So everything was under his request. I did not apply for any application or nothing.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and continue.
Que continue.
¿Quieres decir algo más?
No, pues qué necesito decir.
He has no idea what to say, but you guys have any other questions or anything, it might be up to you guys, so we can answer some questions about him.
Commissioner Zimmelman?
Yeah, do you have a plan in mind how to lower this down so it's within the code? The peak of the garage is too high.
Correct.
Do you have a plan of how you're going to lower that down to get it within the code?
It's going to cost a lot of money to bring it down.
Okay, if he decide, we can have plan, but his concern is it's a lot of money to place that order down. That's why they apply for variation to be that high on there. But if that's the possibility and the owner disagree with it, we're more than happy to do a solution. We always do write out, crane, take it out, everything up, resurvey, restructure, re-engineer, load it down, and place it as needs to be. But that will be in the consideration of you as approval or an option, and the owner will be doing that way. I'm here to help.
¿Cuánto es la
Any additional questions from any of the commissioners? Seeing none, thank you. Stand by, please. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on this? Is there anyone from the audience who would like to speak on this? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. We'll be bringing it back.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be bringing it back to the commission for discussion. Yes, Philip?
Just a quick note and update on the legal considerations. Apologize that the staff report hasn't been updated. We just haven't caught it in a while since we made this template. But recently there was an adoption of revised bylaws. It only takes a majority of members present and voting to pass a variance. It does not require 8. It takes a majority of members present and voting. With 11 members present today, a majority would be 6.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about the 8 no more then, huh?
Correct. So if any of these were looking to be passed, it would just require 6 votes.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Zimmerman.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm basing this on, he was given a permit to build a 1-story plan and he built a 2-story plan. But I'm going to move that
he meets the 5 criteria on the 2'9" setback, and he meets it on the occupation of half of the yard, but he does not meet the height of the building criteria. So this would allow him to fix the problem with the roof and not have to come back here at that point.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that the, it does not meet the 5, or that it does meet the 5 criterias, which basically on the setbacks would be allowed by administrative adjustment if chose, but the applicant would have to rectify the pitch or the height of the structure, correct?
I'd like to make a substitute motion. See, since there was no objection from neighbors, I move that it meets the 5 criteria and approve it the way it's constructed.
Second.
Okay, we on a substitute motion by Commissioner Joe Johnson that it does meet all 5 criterias. And that was seconded by Commissioner Warren.
Just for the record's sake, Mr. Johnson, you're indicating that it meets all 5 criteria for all 3 adjustments.
Okay, we will call the substitute motion to vote. All in favor of the substitute motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Can we have a voice or a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. This is for the substitute motion. Aldrich,
No.
Zimbelman,
No.
Fry, Mater is absent. McKay, Dool, Bill Johnson is absent. High, Klontz,
No.
Warren, Joe Johnson, Austin, Williams Bay, Thiessen is absent. I show 4 members voting in favor, so that means 7 members opposed.
So the motion failed 7-4, correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Going back to the original motion, again, that all 5 of the criteria has been met. But with the stipulation that the roof, the height be brought down in the code, which is 21 foot in height. So I will call the vote. All in favor of the
Question.
second?
Question first.
Yes.
Just to make sure I'm on the same page, on page 6, and I show the conditions 1 through 5, which of the 3 do you say that what was made and which 2 are not? He's meeting 2 of the 3. One is the 2'9" setback, and the other is half of the backyard. And you can read that under the alternates.
Director Waddle, you have a
Yes,
question?
if I could, I think there's some confusion going on about the 5 criteria versus the 3 elements of the variance request. So it sounds like the motion is to approve 2 of the requested variances, and the question was, there was a question about the 5 criteria, but I think the response that you got was about which of the 3 variances are in the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Fry?
Thank you. I would like to make a substitute motion to deny based that it does not meet any of the 5 criteria.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to ask legal on the protocol on that. Is that a good motion?
Yes, that is a good motion. We would take that up first.
Okay. We have an additional substitute motion for denial that the case does not meet the 5 criterias. We have motion maker was Commissioner Fry and seconded by Commissioner Williams Bay. All in favor of that substitute motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed, same sign. Okay, do you want to do a roll call?
If I
again?
could, sir, just for the
Okay.
record, it's very
We
helpful.
will do another roll call.
Aldrich,
Yes on the motion.
Zimbelman.
No.
Fry. Mater is absent. McKay. So you vote aye. Okay. Well,
No.
Bill Johnson is absent. Aye. Klontz.
No.
Warren.
No.
Joe Johnson. Austin. Williams Bay. And Thiessen is absent. So that vote is 4-7.
That motion failed. Okay, now we will go back to the original motion. Let's do a roll call vote. All in favor of the original motion to approve? Thank you. You're doing that on purpose. Okay, the original motion was that the case has met all 5 criteria, and with the exception of the height will have to come into compliance, which is 21 foot. And my time just ran out. All in favor of the original motion? We will do a roll call.
Yes, sir. Aldrich.
No.
Zimbelman.
Yes.
Fry.
No.
Mater is absent. McKay.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
Bill Johnson's absent. High.
Yes.
Klontz.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Joe Johnson. Austin.
Yes.
Williams Bay. Thiessen's absent.
7-4.
Sir. 7-4.
Okay, that motion has passed 7-4. And I'm sure that the inspection department will be keeping a close eye on this one. Okay, we have no other items on the BZA agenda, so we will move out of the BZA and going back into the full MAPC agenda items. First case that we'll be hearing would be 4.1, conditional use 2026-00086. Christina.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith with planning staff here to present Con 2686. The applicant is requesting a conditional use to allow an accessory apartment on a property zoned single family. This is located at 340 North Broadview, is in a 1/4 acre in size. It's developed with a single family residential dwelling and a detached garage, and they're requesting the conditional use in order to convert the existing garage into an accessory apartment. The site plan shows the intent to convert the entirety 20-foot by 20-foot detached garage structure into a livable space as a pool house and guest house. The lean-to shed that is currently attached to the garage will be removed as part of the structure conversion. A dwelling unit is defined by the zoning code as a building or portion of a building that contains living facilities for not more than one family and provides sleeping, cooking, eating, and sanitation. Accessory apartments are subject to 3D6A of the Unified Zoning Code, which is listed on page 2 of your staff report. In addition to that, when located in zoning districts of manufactured housing or more restrictive, accessory apartments are required to comply with the property development standards in section 3D7E of the Unified Zoning Code. Section 4A of the zoning code requires 1 parking space for single-family dwellings and 1 space for an accessory apartment. If the conditional use is approved, the applicant would be required to provide 2 parking spaces, and with the existing driveway, that requirement would be met. The character of the neighborhood is low-density residential. In 1912, the property was platted as part of Hackney's replat Capitol Hill Edition, and there are no other zoning cases associated with the subject site. The subject site has access to North Broadview Avenue, which is a 2-way local street with sidewalks on both sides. The proposed use is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The 2035 Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as residential. An accessory apartment is appropriate for this category. when it comes to the Wichita Places for People plan, which helps guide the community in their actions to create walkable places within Wichita. There's a list of strategies, one of which is Strategy 5, which is to provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area. Strategy 6 is to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual into the environment in which it is occurring. The proposed accessory apartment creates infill housing amongst other residential buildings. The request is in conformance with the purpose statement of the single-family district zoning, which is to accommodate moderate density, single-family residential development, and complementary land uses. Staff is recommending approval of the application subject to the conditions of approval listed on pages 3 and 4 of your staff report. And this is based on the golden factors, which are on page 4 of your staff report. At the time the staff report was prepared, we did not hear any comments from the neighbors regarding the accessory apartment case. So let's go through some of the site photos, please. This is looking west towards the proposed accessory apartment that they are converting. Next slide, please. This is looking east towards the principal structure, which is just southwest of the proposed accessory apartment. Next slide, please. This is looking west across North Broadview Avenue. Next slide, please. And that concludes my site photos. And with that, I will stand for any questions. Thank you.
Christina, thank you. Any questions for Christina? Having none, thank you. Agent or applicant, please.
You want to come up, sir? No, you have to come up first. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm Darren Beck, and I live at 340 North Broadview with my wife and son. This whole experience has been kind of a surprise to me because, frankly, this is not, in my mind, a very big project. From the outside, looking into the property, the neighbors would not see a change. Everything that's happening is happening inside of the property. And so, with the one exception that we are going to tear down an existing lean-to, understand this property is over 100 years old. And so there's some things that need to be adjusted. There's a lean-to that is a shed that attaches to this garage. That's going to be torn down. I would contend that that's not in compliance with the code as it stands. So part of this is going to be to bring the property into compliance. Probably hasn't been in compliance for 50 years or so, 40 years. The property, the garage is, our intent is to turn it into a guest house or pool house. It is not our intent to lease this out, other than my son does intend to move from the basement. He's one of those basement types that's a gamer, and he intends to move from the basement into the property or into the pool house to begin with. Afterwards, it'll continue to be just a pool house. As you can see from the pictures, the property looks out, and there's not a southern exposure that you have a picture to see, but that's where the man door for the garage is, and it opens directly towards the pool area. Again, the only thing that you would see from the outside is we will be taking the garage doors off and replacing that with siding. I've had 2 neighbors contact me. One neighbor had a concern about additional parking in the area. It is fairly congested in that area, as you know, in the College Hill area. I have the same concern with anything that's going on in the area. So it will not be a net positive increase in the amount of parking. As a matter of fact, it won't have any effect whatsoever. There's three grown adults that are living in the house now, and there will be 2 living in the house and 1 living in the accessory apartment. So I really, I thought I should say that it is part of the plan that all of the utilities will remain a part of the house, not a separate. We won't have a separate box. We won't have a separate cable box. It won't have its own sewer. All of that will go into the house's utilities and run through the meters of the house. With that, I stand for any questions that you might have.
Okay, Mr. Beck, thank you for coming and speaking on this. Staff has given 6 various recommendations if approval. Do you support all 6 of those recommendations?
The conditions?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Is there any additional questions for the speaker? Commissioner Dill?
Yes, you referred to the pool and a pool house. Do you own the property where that pool is on?
I do, yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fry?
Yes, Mr. Beck, using the mouse, can you show me where the lean-to is? Is that it right there? Okay.
Yes.
And that's coming out.
Yes.
And what's directly north of that? Is that the entire lean-to where your mouse is?
Yes, it goes clear almost to the property line. There's
Okay.
about about a 4-foot
But all
space between
of
it and
that's
the
coming
fence.
out.
The lean-to is, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any additional questions for the speaker? Saying none, thank you, sir. Please stand by. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak? Yes, please come to the podium and state your name and your address for our record. And you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Jeff Mills. I'm at 323 North Belmont, which is just on the other side of one house over and on the other side of the property. Yeah, I think right about there, if I'm not mistaken. So my main question is, given a new zoning, you say you have no intention of renting it out or leasing it out. But with the current zoning, if you decided to rent it out and lease it out, would the zoning allow you to do that? Is one of my questions. And if you sell your home, does the new owner have the ability to now lease that as an apartment, as with all the parking issues and noise possibly and everything else that goes with having an apartment on the other side of my fence?
Okay, sir, I'm going to refer to Director Waito to answer your questions.
Yes, sir. Well, in terms of the questions, the first one I'd tackle would probably be whether or not it can be restricted from being a rental, and the answer to that is no. The zoning code does not distinguish in that. Just similar with like a single-family house, we don't distinguish whether this single-family house is for rentals or whether this single-family house is for owners. So there's no distinction there. The one thing I would add is that for a short-term rental, so if it was to be an Airbnb, there's a licensing process that the owner would have to go through. So at this point, what could be permitted there would be whether or not someone who owns the property or is a guest of the owner could stay there, or if they wanted to rent it out as a long-term rental more than 30 days.
Okay.
And the second question then was, would it go with the land if they were to sell it and someone else was to purchase it? And yes, it would.
Okay. And how does a process like this then make it easier for his next door neighbor to now have an apartment and their next door neighbor to then have an apartment? And does this facilitate that sort of process so that now I have 3 apartments behind me instead of just 1?
Well, sir, they would have to apply just like the applicant did.
There is a precedent now, or does that change anything?
If we could, sir, can we go to the zoning map for Mohammed or Taiben and back? The zoning map shows what properties are zoned, what's permissible, and the white ones are zoned SF5, the yellow ones are zoned TF3. So on each of the yellow properties, a duplex can be built. So there is a certain amount of density already that's allowed in College Hill. Now, what this doesn't show you is which properties have been permitted for accessory apartments. Unfortunately, the name accessory apartments has apartment in it, so a lot of people instantly assume that it would be a rental. In fact, what a lot of communities call these are accessory dwelling units, so it's just another living space. Right. Yeah, but in terms of how many other neighbors you have around you and in the area around you that already have permission or permitted to have an accessory dwelling unit or accessory apartment, we would have to do a little bit more research on it. But the yellow ones show where duplexes are permitted.
Okay. And there's no timing on that. There isn't, say your son's moving in, but there would be no timing required. He could live there one day and then after that, it becomes an apartment for rent, hypothetically. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct, so that could happen. Commissioner or Director Whalen, do you want to add a little more to that?
Yes, sir. I would add that timeframes are generally reserved for uses that would have a very significant impact, like a rock crushing operation or something of that magnitude. Typically, time limits are not placed like 5 years duration, 10 years duration, unless it's something that's extractive or very intensive. The reason for that is because zoning cases, they're the golden factors that are considered, and in large part, many of the factors would not change over a long period of time. So for that reason, there's generally is not a timeline limit that's placed on zoning cases. The other reason too is just the administrative burden in terms of keeping track of all those would be, with the hundreds of cases that are considered, would also be difficult.
Okay, one more question. Is there a
Last one, then we have to, move on.
okay. Is there a number of people? Is there a limit? You have one person, you say, that's going to live there. When his son moves out, could 4 people move in, or 5 people, or 12?
Director Wadle?
Yeah, there is a limitation on the number of unrelated persons that can occupy a dwelling unit. And so I believe that's up to 5 unrelated individuals. If it's a family, then I think we would get into a code enforcement issue in terms of just safety and how much square footage, but I'm not aware of a finite number on that one. I would have to do more research.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this? Is there anyone from the audience that'd like to speak on this? Okay, seeing none, sir. Now you do have time for rebuttal and you have 2 minutes.
So please keep in mind that this building that we're talking about is in my backyard. I don't really have an interest, and I can't imagine a future owner having an interest in having 5 or 6 or 7 people living in that space in their backyard. The other thing that I would mention is to address the specific concern of it being a separate apartment. It doesn't have separate utilities. It doesn't have a separate sewer. It doesn't have separate water. So in order to rent that out, unless you're just going to pay for the utilities of the tenant, there would be a substantial expense that goes along with putting somebody in there that you're not willing to pay their utilities. I hope you consider those issues as well as you're making your decision.
Okay. Sir, thank you. Commissioner Fry, or High? Commissioner High, do you have a question?
Is there a HOA in your neighborhood?
I believe there's an association. It's not the traditional HOA that has to approve plans.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Is there any additional questions? If not, we will bring it back to the commission for discussion or a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve per staff comment and recommendation.
We have a motion for approval per staff recommendation and comments from Commissioner Clouds. We have a second by Commissioner High. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed 9-1. I'm sorry. Also, I want to need to make a point that Commissioner Williams Bay left at 2:21. Next agenda item, agenda item 4.5, conditional use 2026-00096. And Samuel.
Good afternoon, Samuel Dietz, presenting planner. Conditional use 2026-00096 is a request for conditional use to permit a tavern and drinking establishment with the service of outdoor food and drink on property zoned LC Limited Commercial. The half-acre property is generally located on South Hydraulic, just north of Kellogg. It's currently developed with 2 multi-tenant commercial buildings. According to the site plan, the property would be divided with a parking lot in between, and there's a 25-foot by 25-foot outdoor seating area proposed for the west side of the south building. The seating area would be located approximately 170 feet from residential zoning. Section 3D6W of the Unified Zoning Code requires a conditional use for tavern and drinking establishment with outdoor food and drink where the site is within 300 feet of residential zoning. The need for the conditional use is due to the requested land use and proximity of B multifamily zoning 60 feet east of the subject site. Supplementary use regulations will need to be complied with should the conditional use be approved. These regulations outline noise compatibility standards, outdoor lighting, and screening. The tavern and drinking establishment is required to have 1 parking space per 2 occupants, except that no additional parking would be required for the initial 16 occupants of an outdoor seating area. Current aerial photography shows approximately 24 parking spaces on the lot. This particular site was developed prior to screening standards being codified into the Unified Zoning Code. The way the site has been developed has not changed, therefore solid screening is not required unless the proposed development meets the applicable threshold specified in the Unified Zoning Code. The site has been developed with commercial uses since 1950. Prior to the Landscape Code, a new use would not trigger the site coming into compliance with the Landscape Code unless there are significant renovations or increases in floor area. If that were to occur, a landscape street yard with parking lot screening would be required. The subject site is subject to the compatibility noise standards, which state that no sound amplification system for projecting music or human voices shall be permitted on any property zoned NO or more intensive if the music or voices can be heard within any residential zoning district within a 500-foot radius. The character of this neighborhood is mixed-use commercial and residential. Properties to the north is zoned LC Limited Commercial, enveloped with a multi-tenant commercial building. Property to the south is zoned LC and is developed with offices. Property to the east is zoned B multifamily and GO general office, and developed with multifamily dwellings. Property to the west is zoned GC general commercial, and developed with an office and vehicle storage yard. The site was platted in 1886 as part of the Burrs Edition. In 2015, 421 South Hydraulic applied for conditional use to allow an event center and nightclub. That case was approved by the Planning Commission. However, a condition of approval required an off-site parking agreement to provide at least 75 parking spaces within 60 days. That condition could not be met, and therefore the case was declared null and void. As far as public services are concerned, the site has access to South Hydraulic Avenue, which is a 4-lane arterial street with sidewalks and no bicycle facilities. Water and sewer are already available on the site, and Wichita Transit stops immediately south of the subject site. The requested conditional use is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan, which identifies the site as appropriate for commercial uses. The plan suggests that this area can support uses as intense as the requested tavern and drinking establishment. The conditional use is in conformance with the land use compatibility guidelines, including guideline 2B, which states which promotes mixed-use redevelopment of existing commercial centers and along arterial streets. The site is in the middle of a commercial center as located on one of the main arterial streets in the city. The requested conditional use also aligns with the goals of the Wichita Places for People plan by allowing for development in the area. The plan lists 7 strategies that help guide the Community and creating walkable places. Strategy 3 aims to improve the economic feasibility of commercial and service uses and the markets necessary to support them. Strategy 6 aims to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. The site is being redeveloped into a tavern drinking establishment without significantly modifying its existing footprint. And the proposed outdoor seating area is located on the opposite side of the building from residential zoning. The conditional use is also in conformance with the Central Northeast Area Plan update. One of the priorities of the plan is to retain and attract new businesses and jobs. The proposed tavern and drinking establishment will allow for a new business in an existing commercial building. The conditional use is also in conformance with the Unified Zoning Code purpose statement for the LC district, which is to accommodate retail, commercial, office, and other complementary land uses. The proposed conditional use will provide an additional commercial use in an existing building. If we could go to the site photos, please. This is looking west towards the site. This is looking southwest towards the site. This is looking west through the site. This is looking east through the site at the residential properties to the east. This is looking east away from the site. This is looking south away from the site. This is looking west away from the site. This is looking north away from the site. I believe that concludes the site photos. This request did go to the District Advisory Board on August 3rd and was approved 9-1 with a condition, with the removal of condition number 3, which would allow music at the on the far side of the building as proposed in the site plan. There were no public comments at the District Advisory Board. However, staff have received 2 email comments, one in support and one opposed to the request. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Yep, Samuel, I got a quick one. The closest residence is just east across the street, correct?
That is correct.
And what is that distance? Do you know what the footage is? Is that over 300 foot?
It would be whatever the width of South Hydraulic is from the patio. I think Scott's gonna try to do some measurements in GIS here. So we'll try to get a distance for you from the patio to the residence. But from the building to the property line on the east side is less than 300 feet.
Based on the site plan, hydraulic is approximately 60 feet and the entire site is 150 feet. So it'd be approximately 185 when looking at the east side of the outdoor seating area.
I mean, that's a pretty busy street there, along with the interstate running pretty close by there too, correct? Okay. Philip?
Ballpark about 170 to 175 feet from the patio to the property line across the street.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sorry, Commissioner Friday, do you have any questions?
I can wait. We were just chatting, sorry. We'll keep it to a minimum.
Is there any additional questions for staff? If not, agent or applicant, please.
Thank you. Kim Edgington, PSC Consulting, 144 North Emporia, agent representing the applicant. In general, we are in agreement with staff comments. This is a property that has historically been used for this same type of use. There has been a tavern and drinking establishment here at this location for several decades. We're not exactly sure how that happened without a conditional use because of the proximity of residential. Could have been that they were qualified as a restaurant because of food sales, but in this case, the operation will not meet that requirement. So we did find out that we needed to come before you for this conditional use. The area that we are asking for the outdoor seating is really the only issue that we are needing to talk about today. The District Advisory Board made a recommendation that outdoor amplification would be allowed only in that area of the outdoor seating area as shown on this site plan. So we are simply asking the Planning Commission today to approve this with the same recommendation that the District Advisory Board made, so that those two are consistent in the approvals. As you well know, that as long as the District Advisory Board vote and the MAPC vote are the same and there are no protests filed against this, then your action as a Planning Commission will be final, and would eliminate the necessity to go forward with City Council. So we are asking that your vote be tied to the same language that was approved by the District Advisory Board, which was eliminating item number 3 as it's written in your staff report, and instead stating that outdoor amplification shall only be allowed on that portion as shown in the site plan for outdoor seating. So with that, I would stand for any questions that you might have.
Any questions, Commissioner Fry?
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate the presentation. Help me understand the legal description of this parcel, because the application says 415 to 429. Does that mean all of these addresses would then fall under this request? Because I see 415, 417, 419, 421, 429.
Right. So everything in this kind of red colored outline would be under the conditional use. So essentially, if later down the road in this, say this tenant space of 419, it would be allowed to have a tavern or drinking establishment within that space, because my client does own that entire property.
So all 5 addresses could have a tavern drinking establishment in it if this passes as requested.
Right, and the only area that we are requesting to have any outdoor seating is here in this green square, and that would be the only place that any outdoor amplification would be allowed, which is as far as possible as we can, far away as possible as we can get from the residential to the east, because this property over here is all general commercial.
Is your applicant's intent to develop all 5 addresses as taverns at this time?
No, right now, only this space, the 429 tenant space, is proposed for the tavern and drinking establishment. So they would have to go through with licensing if they were to include any other locations. They would have to go forward with licensing approval for that.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Zimmerman?
What are the operating hours?
Right now, it's midnight is as late as they would be open. This is the owner of this has other property, other businesses like this in the area, and most of the weeknights, it's a 10 o'clock closing, midnight on the weekends.
Okay.
Before, when this was when there was a tavern and drinking establishment in here, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, that establishment was open until 2 a.m.
Yeah. When we got here today, we had a complaint from a neighbor that said things got a little noisy around 2 a.m.
Right.
But you're not planning.
We have no intention of being open that late.
Commissioner High?
So, Kim, what would be the wording you want to replace 3? And how do we describe that?
Well, if staff has the exact, I believe staff has the exact wording that the district advisory board used, which I believe was outdoor amplification shall only be allowed on that portion of the site as shown on the site plan.
Is there any additional questions for the applicant or agent for the applicant? Seeing none, Kim, thanks, stand by.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak on this? Is there anyone from the audience that'd like to speak on this? Hearing none, Kim, you missed out on your rebuttal opportunity, sorry. I will bring this back to the commission. Commissioner Fry?
Thank you. I have a question for staff. Didn't realize that there potentially could be 5 drinking establishments on this parcel. With that, I'm concerned about the parking requirement, because right now it's saying a tavern and drinking establishment requires 1 per 2 occupants. With only 24 parking spaces and potentially have 5 clubs here, they would have to then come back for a variance to ask for additional parking, or it would overflow into the
That's
adjacent
correct.
streets.
Or it would limit the amount of, I think it's based on seats for a drinking establishment. So it would limit the capacity of those drinking establishments, those businesses. Another alternative would be that they could do, of course, a lease agreement with maybe some of the owners of parking lots, but we know that those haven't been very popular, but that is an option.
Any additional, Commissioner Fry? Okay. Is there any additional questions or comments? If not, Commissioner Warren?
I would move that we approve per staff comments and marrying the agreement that was the district advisory board gave to our wording and requirements on that to comply.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Warren to approve based on the district advisory board wording on item number 3. We have a second by Commissioner McKay. Additional comments, Commissioner Fry?
Thank you. I'd like to ask Commissioner Warren if he would be amenable to a friendly amendment to limit it to just 429 South Hydraulic.
I'd go partway with you. What's the lot just to the east?
Just to the southern building?
Just southern building.
Would the second be amenable to a friendly amendment to allow just the southern building and not the northern building?
Ms. Kim?
Kim Edgington for the record. We would prefer not to take that limitation at this point just because the seating itself is the limiting factor. Where if the use at 429 were to go away, we would prefer to have the flexibility then to use the other building that my applicant does own because of the self-limiting feature that is built in here as far as seating capacity and ability to provide parking. So, it would be nigh impossible to provide enough parking for all of these spaces to be used as a tavern or drinking establishment. But we would like to have the flexibility to kind of have an either or. Where if the space at 429 converted to a different type of use, that space could then be taken up by a building on the north side, since it is all under single ownership.
Commissioner McKay?
With that, Kim, what is the square footage or occupancy, whichever you want to say, would take preference, and how much would it be?
Right now, I believe, I don't have the exact number of that tenant space, the square footage of that. I want to say want to say it's right around 1,500 square feet. So it is not a large space. If I don't know if we could look at the that view that shows the actual strip centers. You know, the buildings themselves are about 40 feet deep, so they're not particularly large buildings.
Director Waddle?
If it helps everyone, I'm looking at the appraiser's information and it shows on the property itself, there's a total of 4,400 square feet. So Kim, I think you were really close.
Yeah. So of that 4,000, about 1,500 will be in the tavern and drinking establishment.
Okay, any additional comments? If not, I would like to ask the motion maker if you would revise his motion or repeat his motion.
Can I ask a question before he does that?
Yes, Commissioner McKay?
Would you be satisfied if we'd say one building or one building only at a time within the geographical area rather than by address?
I think that would give us a little more flexibility if the use were to go away on the south building, that it could then transition to the north building.
Motion maker? They don't have one building at a time, that they could use as a tavern.
Okay, real quick, before we get back to Commissioner Warren, Commissioner Austin?
Just a quick point of clarification. If I understood you correctly, Kim, if we simply adopted the recommendation of the District Advisory Board, the action, if we made the motion, adopted it as it was originally made, the action would be final on this conditional request today.
Right.
But if we make the change to the motion as has been suggested, that kicks it up to City Council.
Correct, because then the action of the DAB and the action of MAPC are not the same.
Okay, thank you.
So going back to Commissioner Warren.
With that, I would stick with my original motion.
Okay, and the original motion was to accept.
And as presented.
As presented with the wording of the DAB.
And wording of the DAB, correct.
Okay, Director Waddle?
If I could, sir, just a discussion on procedure, and Commissioner Fry brought it up. There still is a protest period. So even if they are the same and if it gets protested, that will cause it to go to City Council anyway.
Okay, and the second, you're still good with the original motion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I will call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion passed 8-1, is that correct? Were there two?
I believe Fry and Joe Johnson voted against it. Is that correct?
Okay, the motion passed 7-2.
8-2.
No, we were down.
Right, that puts us down to 10. We had 11 present before him.
Public schools. Okay, so the motion passed 8-2. Thank you. Okay, now we will move to item number 4.7, DER 2025. Raquel.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm going to give them in the back a moment to pull up my presentation. All right. I'm Raquel Ordonez. I'm here to present proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code regarding accessory apartments. Next slide, please. I realize this PowerPoint presentation did say in the city, but the standards are for city and county. My mistake. To get us started, the recommended action, and this is coming from staff and from the Advanced Plans Committee, is to approve the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code and recommend adoption by the City Council and Board of County Commissioners. Next slide, please. We're going to go through background and process, a quick overview of the existing regulations, the proposed changes, and then we'll turn to the recommended action. Next slide, please. And one more. Here's just a quick overview of the time of the meetings we have had so far on this one. We have heard it at the Advanced Plans Committee level 4 times, and we also presented an early version of these amendments to the Board of County Commissioners at a staff meeting, where the Board of County Commissioners indicated a preference to allow accessory apartments by right in the county, in the unincorporated areas of the county. And then most recently, this was heard on July 9th by the Advanced Plans Committee. Next slide, please. We did do some, planning staff did research into the history of accessory apartment cases, which are approved by conditional use. Since 2021, we've received a total of 71 cases, 58% located in unincorporated Sedgwick County and 42% located within the city of Wichita, and 100% of them have been approved by the MAPC. Next slide, please. Here's just a flow chart of our process showing the multiple times we've been to Advanced Plans Committee. Here we're at MAPC, and next steps would be to take this to the Board of County Commissioners and the City Council for final approval. Next slide, please. Getting into the existing regulations regarding accessory apartments. Next slide, please. Just a reminder of the definition: an accessory apartment means an accessory use dwelling unit that may be wholly within or may be detached from a principal single-family dwelling unit. This is the definition that is currently found in the Unified Zoning Code. Next slide, please. Currently, accessory apartments are allowed by right in these zoning districts. A caveat of accessory apartments is they shall be accessory to a single-family dwelling, and they have to meet the existing supplementary use regulations. Next slide, please. In the single-family and two-family residential zoning districts and the rural residential zoning district, a conditional use permit is currently required to allow an accessory apartment. Again, these still have to meet the same supplementary use regulations and be accessory to a single-family dwelling. Next slide, please. These are the existing supplementary use regulations, which I hope you guys are familiar with. A maximum number of 1 accessory dwelling unit allowed on the same lot as a single-family dwelling. The appearance shall be compatible with the existing dwelling unit. The ownership shall remain the same, and the utility service should be the same. Again, these are existing regulations. Next slide, please. And then these are the accessory, the setbacks applied to accessory structures. These are reduced setbacks that are reduced from what's required for principal structures. So these usually apply to accessory apartments as well. Next slide, please. This is a flow chart of the conditional use process. Usually 60 to 90 days. It includes published public notice and letters sent out within the notification area, and then review by the Planning Commission, either the DAB or the CAB, depending on if it's in city or county, and then potentially review by the governing body as well. Next slide, please. We did do some research into other communities. Next slide, please. We did a quick survey of these communities, just seeing what sort of approval process are other people using for their accessory apartments or accessory dwelling units. Of the communities we surveyed, 50% of them allow accessory apartments by right. That's due to state law. 30% use the conditional use process, which is the process that is currently used here in Wichita and Sedgwick County. 10% allow administrative approvals, and then 10% allow, an additional 10% allow by right approvals, but that's not required by state law. Next slide, please. Then let's get into the proposed changes. Next slide. We have multiple changes both to the term and the definition used to identify accessory apartments, the approval process, and then the required conditions along with that approval. Next slide, please. As stated before, more commonly, accessory apartments are referred to as accessory dwelling units, so we are proposing changing the term used in our code from accessory apartment to accessory dwelling unit or ADU. And then adding to the definition to allow an ADU accessory to a duplex, not just a single family dwelling unit, and then clarifying in the definition that the accessory dwelling shall be subordinate to the principal dwelling. And subordinate is capitalized here because we will also add the term subordinate to the defined terms in the Unified Zoning Code. Next slide, please. And then here is that new term, additionally proposing to add the new term subordinate, which will mean that a building, structure, or use that is smaller in floor area to the principal structure, building, or use on the same zoning lot. And then floor area is also capitalized because it is a defined term in the code, which means the area of all the floor space allowed for occupancy within exterior walls. Next slide, please. So we have a few different options for process, proposed changes for process depending on the zone district. Existing, we have the conditional use process. We are proposing in some districts that accessory dwelling units be approved by administrative permit, and in others that accessory dwelling units be approved by right. Next slide, please. So for the zoning districts most commonly found within the city of Wichita, which is the SF5 district and the TF3 district. TF3 district, we are proposing an administrative permit approval process. The administrative permits are what we currently use to allow short-term rentals. So this allows approval by the planning director along with the zoning administrator. It has limited public notice and protest process, excuse me. So a notice is mailed to the properties that are directly abutting or across the street from the subject site, the applicant site, and there is a 14-day protest period following notification of decision. And if more than 50% of all the owners that are either touching or across the street from the subject site protest, then the application is denied, and the applicant has the option to then go through the full conditional use process to allow an accessory dwelling unit. We're proposing that this process is used to allow accessory dwelling units in the SF5 district and TF3, but only when TF3 is developed as a duplex. If a property in TF3 is developed as single family, they are allowed one accessory dwelling unit by right. Next slide, please. And then in the county zoning districts, rural residential SF20 and SF10, we are proposing that accessory dwelling units are allowed by right, as long as all the supplementary use regulations are met. This eliminates the public notification process in any hearings. Again, this also includes TF3 when developed as a single family. And then here we're getting into the proposed changes to the conditions. So these conditions must be met no matter the approval process, whether allowed by right or by administrative permit. So the number of dwelling units or accessory dwelling units is still limited to one, just changing the term and adding that accessory dwelling units may be allowed in addition to a duplex, not just single family dwelling unit, and then adding that this language below that's in blue, a maximum of one accessory dwelling unit shall be permitted per each administrative permit or conditional use and shall be developed in conformance to the approved site plan. So this language was added due to concerns we heard regarding acreage or allowing additional dwelling units when, particularly in the county, you allow conditional use for an accessory apartment on a large piece of land and it gets subdivided, and then all of those newly created lots also get an accessory dwelling unit. This language shows that only one is allowed by those conditional uses. Next slide, please. The appearance within the established central area. So this term is taken from the Places for People plan. It shows the most inner part of the city of Wichita. This standard shall only apply within that area, that the appearance of an accessory dwelling unit shall be compatible with the principal structure. And outside of the established central area, there won't be any appearance conditions. Next slide, please. Inside the established central area, we are proposing to regulate the architectural style, the exterior materials, the roof pitch, and the percentage of windows on the frontage. This language is included that the accessory dwelling unit shall reflect the architectural style of the principal structure and the dwelling units immediately surrounding the property. Next slide, please. We are proposing this language to regulate the exterior materials. This allows two options: that the exterior finished materials shall be substantially similar in appearance or placement and percentage of the facade coverage to the exterior finish of the principal dwelling, or to the principal structure on the lot. So allowing exterior finish materials that match what's already existing on the lot, or allowing the option to use siding that must be made from sturdy materials such as wood, composite board, vinyl, aluminum, or metal. So it gives the option. You can either match what the existing principal structure looks like, or siding. Next slide, please. Regulating the roof pitch, again, allowing the option to the roof pitch match the existing principal structure, or allowing a roof pitch of at least 6/12. This does allow modern one-pitch roofs, so just a slanted roof. Commonly, some people will call them chicken coop roofs. Next slide, please. And then windows, requiring at least 5% of the total area of the street-facing facade to be windows. Next slide, please. And then ownership remains mostly the same, just adding clarifying language that the ownership should remain under the same as the principal dwelling, and then adding that when an accessory dwelling unit is requested accessory to a duplex, that both sides of the duplex shall be on the same zoning lot and under the same ownership. So this takes away any complications that may come through with a duplex having dual ownership where each side has singular ownership. Next slide, please. And then the supplementary use regulations for utility service remains the same, that the utilities have to be under the same as the principal dwelling unit, and then also adding a reference to the accessory use development and performance standards. So those are the setbacks. We're not proposing any changes there, just adding language to call out that those setbacks should be met for all accessory dwelling units. Next slide, please. And then again, regulating the size. This is only within the established central area, that the maximum square footage of an accessory dwelling unit shall be limited to 1,000 square feet, and then eliminating the parking requirement. Next slide, please. That is the end of the proposed changes. Again, the recommended action is to approve the proposed amendments to the Unified Zoning Code and recommend adoption by the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners. And I will stand for any questions.
Any questions? Actually, I have one regarding the administrative permit process on page 3 on the staff report. It says the size limitations for the accessory dwelling units in an established central area. Do you have an example of that?
I do not have examples of necessarily the size requirements. Or are you talking about like the boundary of the established central area?
Well, where it shows on the administrative permit process, it says when, size limitations for accessory dwelling units in an established central area. So I'm just wondering, what do you mean by that?
So
what is it?
We have a
Give an
square
example.
footage limitation within the established central area, 1,000 square feet. And then in the county, per the definition, just an accessory dwelling unit has to be smaller in floor area than the principal structure, the
Okay.
principal dwelling.
And then also on the property development standards on page 4, regarding the setbacks and also the height.
Mhm.
you know, we just got done with the BZA, 00005 or 69.
Mm-hmm.
So these two statements right there and the results of that BZA decision sort of shot that right out of the water, didn't it?
These are the same. Go ahead.
I mean, basically what we're saying, we're trying to adopt policy and adopt regulations, but what we just got done having didn't fit any of that, and we said, okay. So,
Yes, sir. I'd like to answer that one just because Raquel wasn't here for that particular case. Yes, this establishes the policy of what it would take in order to qualify for this and what the requirements would be. But you're correct. Circumstances like the one that you saw today, where it was built and perhaps even inspected or permitted to a certain degree, and then all of a sudden was discovered to be out of compliance, those will still come forward likely with a variance case in a similar instance. But our hope is, of course, that we do not see those types of cases very frequently. But if something was to happen like that, yes, that would occur.
okay. Commissioner Dill?
First, I'm curious as to what has precipitated these changes, and how long has it been since these were considered before? Is it primarily from staff because we want to streamline these accessory dwellings coming through the planning commission and city council, or what is it?
You want me to go?
If you'd like to, yeah, Raquel.
Yeah, these did come, from my understanding, it did come from a place of decreasing the caseload here at the Planning Commission and streamlining the process.
And I would add to that there's also been interest expressed by elected officials. We heard from the county commission at a staff meeting that they were very interested in streamlining this process, as well as Raquel has indicated. We looked back at our case records and we found that accessory apartments almost always get approved. And right now they're taking a 90-day process as they go through the zoning, and it hits the MAPC and the city. It'll hit the DAB, maybe the CAB in the county, and then the governing body. And so this was a way that we saw that we could streamline that process, and yet still, by establishing some conditions in certain areas, still manage expectations as well.
And if I might add, we also heard this several times. We had a lot of discussion and advanced plans on this too, and that all translate to what we're seeing here now.
Another question is, if there were a new subdivision that didn't want the automatic approval of accessory dwellings, could that be written into their subdivision or to the homeowners association rules? Or is it just going to be approved by right no matter what?
They could still, certainly if they have an HOA, they could put that in their covenants, and that would be a private agreement among them. And so that could be enforced on their side. So there's nothing in here that would preclude that from occurring.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you. This is a public hearing, so I will ask anybody in the audience would like to speak on this or any comments? Seeing none, the recommendation is that we do approve the proposed amendment to the Unified Zone Code and recommend adoption of the City Council and the Board of County Commissioners. I will make that a motion as such. Do we have a second? Commissioner High made the second, and all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously, 10-0. The next agenda item is a non-public hearing item, 5.1 DER 2026-00012, the City of Wichita Capital Improvement Program for 2027 through 36.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Momita Kundu with the Planning Department, and I'd be presenting the city CIP today. And the staff recommends making a finding whether the proposed CIP is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan identifies 3 funding priorities for funding public infrastructure and facilities, and they are maintain, enhance, and expand. The staff finds the proposed CIP to be in conformance with these priorities. The staff report and a detailed conformance table is attached to today's packet materials. The Advanced Plan Committee reviewed the CIP on July 23rd and voted to recommend that MAPC find the CIP in conformance with the comprehensive plan. And with that, I would like to introduce Elizabeth Goldtree with the Finance Department to do a detailed presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Goldtree with the Finance Department, here to provide an overview of the City of Wichita CIP for the next 10 years. Oh, next slide. Thank you. So the CIP, it's a 10-year plan. As Momita mentioned, it is in conformance. It's aligned to the Community Investments Plan, and many thanks to Momita and Justin, both for being involved with the CIP process this year, again, and providing a lot of helpful analysis along the way. Additionally, the CIP is aligned to the City of Wichita's strategic plan, and it's also designed to be financially viable. Next slide. There's a lot of different funding sources for the City of Wichita CIP. Most of the discussion during the process is on that green slide from about 2 o'clock to maybe 1:30 to 3 o'clock for the GEO at-large projects that funds public safety as well as parks and other facilities. But a large part of our CIP is, of course, due to the utilities the City of Wichita operates: water, sewer, and stormwater. Next slide, please. On this slide, you'll see where the different projects by category that you would find in the CIP. Water and sewer connect to those funding sources, but as I mentioned before, the GEO at-large funding as well as local sales tax funding is divided amongst different types of projects. Next slide. Quickly, I think this is already in your staff report, but Momita and Justin analyzed the CIP. Maintenance is a priority in the comprehensive plan. It's also a priority for the City of Wichita governing body. Over half of the CIP is dedicated to maintenance of existing projects. Another type of prioritization that exists in the comprehensive plan is the type of projects, and 71% in the CIP are for projects. Funding in the CIP is for these high priority projects, very high priority projects such as public safety, water, streets, and bridges. Next, please. Overall, and this is probably similar to what was in your agenda report. So next slide, please. And again, this connects to the different categories of types of projects that are in the CIP also. Thank you. Next slide, please. So in the maintain what we have category, just some highlights. We have quite a bit of funding in the CIP for replacement of heavy equipment. That's things like dump trucks that are used for our street infrastructure. There's quite a bit of funding in the CIP for parks and recreation. And as they're developing a park and recreation plan right now. So this is more, the CIP this time was focused on maintenance. Another big, we talked about this a lot during the CIP process this year, is cultural facilities. Those are generally funded by the transient guest tax. There are a lot of maintenance needs for those facilities, and there's a lot of funding in the CIP for those types of facilities. Next, please. And then other assets that are funded to, maintenance funding is in the CIP for our parking system, public safety facilities, fire apparatus, so that is the replacement of fire apparatus, police and fire stations, street maintenance, of course, and then our water and sewer infrastructure. Next slide, please. Oh, in addition to those maintenance projects, there are also some enhancement and expansion projects in the CIP as well. One of these is a new project, a police headquarters. The funding for that is in the backside of the CIP in 2032 and 2034. A police training facility. This is for tactical training rather than classroom training that occurs at Wichita State. Expansion of sewage treatment plant number 3. Some drainage projects, and the funding for those is possible due to the stormwater utility rate increase earlier this year, as well as the K96 project, and that's programmed for 2028 and 2029. Next slide, please. So some future challenges in the CIP. Property tax revenue is the source of revenue for geo at-large projects. Typically, we finance those projects half. We retire the cost of those projects, use cash as well as debt for the retirement of those projects, and there's just a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of maintenance projects as well as a lot of other interest in enhancement and expansion projects in the community. And so there's always a lot of pressure in that area. The other area where there was a lot of pressure in the CIP this year and will be an ongoing focus is the transient guest tax fund. I mentioned that it's probably one of our most stressed funds right now, simply because the need for maintenance at those facilities outstrips the growth in that fund. There was a lot of growth in this fund for a period of time, but the growth year to year, and it's a more typical level than it was for about a 5-year period. And another future challenge on the operating side of the budget is the operating costs of the CIP facilities. So there is a lot of information about that in the front section of the CIP if you're interested. This year, for example, in the operating budget, there's funding programmed for 2027 for the operation of the new Fire Station 23. Good rule of thumb is a fire station is about $2 million a year to operate. So there's operating costs that are included in the operating budget this year for new facilities, as well as those maintenance costs. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. So, and I just went through this. So, okay, next slide, please. So as far as the budget calendar and for the CIP, we have another budget hearing on August 18th, next Tuesday at 9 a.m. if you're interested in attending. And then we have an evening meeting on August 25th. That's the date that was included in the R&R mailer that was mailed out by the county, and that's the date for the revenue neutral rate hearing, as well as the budget and CIP adoption. So thank you for your time today, and I'm available for questions, or do they just vote? Okay, and I'm available for questions.
Is there any questions, Speaker? Commissioner Fry?
Thank you, Elizabeth. On slide 11, you talked about Highway K96, 300 million. Is that the expansion to 3 lanes in both directions? And is that the city's portion of it or the total cost?
The total cost is 300 million, so the city portion is 10 and the Sedgwick County portion is 10.
So
it's two.
So there's not 300 million in the CIP for K96.
Well, I think it would be a City of Wichita project. So the entire $3 million is in the city. 300 million is in the City of Wichita CIP, and so it's 280 million is state of Kansas, and then 10 City of Wichita local sales tax and 10 Sedgwick County. But that's, I think, how the most recent projects have been managed, that they've been City of Wichita projects, and then because of our local presence.
I understand that. I just wanted to make sure about the number.
Yep, you bet.
Okay, is there any additional questions? Commissioner Dill?
So that K96 number doesn't include anything from the Kansas Department of Transportation?
It does. It's 280 of the 300 million is from KDOT.
Okay, so you're showing that as in your budget. That number is revenue, and then the 300 as expense.
Yes, so in the CIP, if you wanted to go to the project section, it would have that project and it would have 3 funding sources. So one would be LST for 10 million, one is Sedgwick County for 10 million, and then one would be an S for state for 280. You're welcome.
Any additional questions? Thank you. Again, this is a non-public meeting, so we'll be bringing it back to the commission, the recommend action. I'd like to make a motion that we do find the proposed capital improvement program is in conformance with the comprehensive plan. Do we have a second? We have a motion by me, and we have a second by Commissioner Warren. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passed 10-0. We do not have any other matters that I seen. Unless, Justin, you want to speak again on anything? You know, so Justin doesn't want to talk no more, so we'll go ahead and adjourn.